I would like to welcome in a former Canadian Olympian, former professional basketball player as well, a tremendous ambassador of this city. You can follow him on twitter.com/bballinsider, and he's on the morning show on Thursdays as well. Mr. Dwight Walton, how you doing?
What's up, Matt? Thanks for having me in the studio this evening. Looking forward to it.
Well, thanks for coming in.
Hey, man, I appreciate it.
As my people say, it's a schlep to come all the way down here, especially in the summer with festival traffic and construction and all that crap.
Nah, it took me 12, 14 minutes to get here.
That's it?
Yeah, it was no problem. Listen, I was a bit late. I left my house at about 7:41.
Look at this guy, huh? Casually coming in.
I got here, but the door was closed downstairs. So
yeah. Well, that was a given. I figured you'd let us know.
Sorry, I didn't realize. That's my bad.
That's all right. We had Dominic from LaSalle, so there's always somebody ready to talk hockey, right?
That's fine. That's good.
You're a Bruins fan, so we won't get to that.
No, we'll leave that for another time when the hockey season starts.
All right, we got a ton of basketball to get to. I'm really excited that we have a whole hour dedicated to basketball talk here, both Team Canada, a grassroots level later on in the hour, but obviously we'll talk some NBA now.
Right.
Free agency period is quite interesting. It's all centered around Carmelo at the moment, or initially people were talking about LeBron, but it looks like that'll be a Miami situation. But I wanted to get your take on what happened the last couple of days with the Rockets and putting up a poster of Carmelo wearing 7 when Jeremy Lin's still on the roster wearing 7. I thought that was a classless move. Of all the numbers you could put on a guy, he only wore 7 because the Knicks have 15 retired. Could have just put 15 on the poster in Houston. It just irks me that they would be that disparaging to one of their own players.
And we also have conflicting reports as to was Jeremy Lin alerted or not. He wasn't, which is why he's so upset about the situation. And listen,
but he's been classy about it.
Absolutely. And listen, we do understand that he's in the third year of a deal and he's making $15 million and that we shouldn't feel sorry for him. But the reality is at that level, ladies and gentlemen, it's not really about the money. It's still about respect. And listen, although we do know that Daryl Morey, the GM of the Houston Rockets, has alerted all the players that are probably going to be dealt as a result of Carmelo Anthony possibly signing with the Rockets. Jeremy Lin knows the deal. He knows he's going to be one of the pawns that's going to be shipped out. However, he still is a member of the Houston Rockets. He still does wear number 7. And I agree with you. I think another number should have been superimposed on Carmelo Anthony. We do understand that Carmelo Anthony is the big dog as of right now, as you said, in terms of free agency. But still, the fact of the matter is Jeremy Lin is a roster member of the Houston Rockets. So don't disrespect him in that light. I know I wouldn't feel appreciated. Of course, I would take the high road myself, or publicly being politically correct over the air via the media. But don't put somebody else's body in my number. I wouldn't want to be disrespected like that at all. I think it was wrong, and I'm sure if you spoke to the Houston Rockets in the background, they would tell you they made a mistake as far as that was concerned as well.
What was your big number that you wore most of your years?
I changed numbers so many times, man. I wore number 11 for the national team. I wore 54 in college. I wore number 13 while I was in Israel. I had different numbers the 5 different years I was in Switzerland. So I really wasn't tied to one number. I just wanted to get a jersey on and play the best basketball that I could. So there really wasn't a number that I really had my mind focused on.
What about in rec league now?
I'm wearing number 8 now, and I've worn that number for the past, I want to say 10 years, because it's been basically the same jersey. So, it's still clean, it still works. So that's why I've had number 8 for the past 10 years.
Dwight Walton joining us here in studio, talking some basketball. So Carmelo's got his world tour, essentially, going to all these different markets, and that's his right.
Absolutely.
And good for him to get the lay of the land before deciding.
Yes, sir.
Otherwise, you're just going to be miserable and thinking, what if you don't make the tour? But interesting report that the Knicks are flying out to L.A. to meet with him and continue their hot pursuit, which they should if they want to keep him in New York.
Well, listen, Matthew, he's already been to Chicago. He's been to Houston, to Dallas. He's in Los Angeles today. And the Knicks, they're basically the last one to the party. So they want to make sure that he has the Knicks on his mind as well, which I'm sure he does. He's the one that bulldozed his way to New York several years ago, basically fleecing the whole starting 5 of the Knicks roster that was coached by Mike D'Antoni at the time. And the Knicks want to make sure that he's reminded about them. And at the end of the day, it's money. it's $30 million that he's leaving on the table if he leaves New York. Now, if he's true to his word and he wants to win a championship, I don't think his best option is in New York, in spite of Phil Jackson right now being in charge of the basketball operations there. You've got a rookie head coach coming in Derek Fisher. You can have some.
They just brought in a good assistant coach.
Yes, and Kurt Rambis as well. These are Phil is basically funneling in guys that will run his system. Now, is he going to be triangle all day, every day? I'm not sure. They will put some nuances in there to appease the roster that's going to be put together by Phil Jackson. But the reality is, it's a rookie head coach. I think they're going to be in a rebuild stage. It was unfortunate. Listen, once again, it's all about the money here. Amari Stoudemire and Andrea Bargnani opted back into their deal, so it's going to be very, very difficult to trade those two players. But Jose Calderon coming in a trade. You've got Montreal, Sam Dellenberg on the roster as well. You've got other pieces that have been brought in. But I'm not so sure at this point, even in a depleted Eastern Conference, that the Knicks are viable championship contenders. Now, once again, if Carmelo Anthony does sign that 5-year, $129 million deal, which is afforded to him by the New York Knicks, would you or anybody else out there want to pay a 34-year-old Carmelo Anthony $29 million in that final year of his deal? That's the question you have to ask. Listen, he's one of the more premier scorers that we have in the NBA. There's no question about his offensive talent.
What do you think of him as a defender?
No, listen.
Down the stretch in the fourth quarter.
I'll tell you what.
I'm not ragging on him. I'm curious.
I got you. Coming out of Syracuse University, most players don't know how to play defense because they're coddled in that 2-3 zone that Jim Boeheim throws out year after year after year. He always recruits the longest, most athletic basketball players in the country, yet he insists on sitting back in that 2-3 zone. Carmelo Anthony is a better defensive player than people give him credit for. I'm not going to say he's a great defender. Okay, I'm not trying to say that right now. But I think if he's put into a situation right now at this point of his career where he has to play both ends of the floor, and if he's truly committed to wanting to win a championship, I think he can get it done. He's not going to be out there to lock somebody down, but I think he could be a great team defender. He can funnel guys into help and do it that way. Is he going to focus on somebody and lock him down one-on-one? That's not his strong suit, but I'm sure at the end of the day, if need be, Carmelo could do a decent job defensively. But we all know that he's being recruited because he can put the ball in the basket at a rate of 28 to 32 points per game.
Chatting with Dwight Walton here in studio. He'll be with us until 9 o'clock. Dwight, the L.A. pitch is kind of intriguing to me. I mean, if Kobe Bryant can indeed play anywhere, even 80% of what he was, right. How does that work exactly? Is he just going to become an assist guy? I just don't understand how that would work because at least LeBron was a forward. Well, he can play many positions, but was playing forward and Dwayne Wade was playing guard, right? How is this going to work?
Well, here's the thing. I think the reason why the dynamic between Dwayne Wade and LeBron James worked is because LeBron James is an inclusive type of basketball player. When you're talking about Kobe Bryant and Carmelo Anthony, these are two ball-dominant players. They want to win on their own terms. I can't see that dynamic working. Did it work for the U.S. national team? Of course it did, because when you get 12 of the best basketball players in the world on the same team, they're going to want to win that gold medal. They're going to come together for that common goal to win the gold medal. In the NBA, it might be different. Kobe Bryant, as far as I'm concerned, once he signed that 2-year, $48 million deal that he did a couple of months ago, he's basically telling everybody in the NBA and around the world that he still thinks he's one of the top 5 players in the NBA. And coming off of a debilitating Achilles injury, a cracked kneecap, trying to come back to that status that he was at a couple of years ago. And we all know that Kobe Bryant is going to be in the gym working his tail off to make sure he gets back in shape so he can prove to the NBA world that he is still Kobe Bryant. I just simply can't see that dynamic between Kobe and Carmelo working. Now, does Carmelo want to be in Los Angeles? I know his wife is there all the time. She's part of Hollywood fandom out there. She does a lot of stuff out there. We're talking about Lala Vasquez. Does he want to be in L.A.? That's an option, most definitely. But like I said, at the end of the day, if he's truly about winning, the Los Angeles Lakers and the New York Knicks are not the two options at this point. I think if he wants to win a championship, it's either going to be in Chicago, it's going to be in Houston. Not so much Dallas, but I think Chicago and Houston are the two best options for him going forward if he wants to win.
All right, Dwight, a few seconds here. We'll come back, obviously, with some more talk, and we'll get to Kyle Lowry signing with the Raptors, which is unbelievable for that franchise that they kept him.
Yep.
But just in a few seconds here, your gut tells you where does Carmelo end up signing?
My gut tells me back in New York. my basketball mind tells me he's going to go to Chicago. I think that's his best option. Eastern Conference, you team up with Derrick Rose,
Noah,
with Joakim Noah, with Taj Gibson. Maybe you throw in Pau Gasol at the mid-level exception because he can fit underneath that window as far as that team's cap situation is concerned. You put that along with Jimmy Butler. You put those players out there in the Eastern Conference. You got a legit shot at winning the East and getting to the finals.